Hello, good evening. This is our 31-day month-long health tips that we're doing. Although I have missed a couple of days, but you get the gist of it. Hopefully you are getting some good information, writing it down, and you're going to actually use it in 2019 if you're not already using it now. So I wanted to pop in and talk to you tonight about using herbs for the healing of your body. And herbs can be kind of challenging to know how to use it and what to do with them and which ones you need to take. So I wanted to just share a few of the basic common ones that you can start with. If you don't have an herbal store near you, you can always, Amazon is proving to be our best friend, Google and Amazon. But you can order them off of Amazon, most of them. You can actually grow your own herb plants, which is always really, really cool. And you can order the herbs. Generally, they'll come in powders, they'll come in a liquid, they come in capsules. I'm not a fan of all things pills and capsules, even when it's in its most natural state. So when I am teaching about herbs, I usually, always want the ladies to use get the powder form or get the actual cut plant to make it out of a tea. So let me share. I wrote some notes on a few. I'm going to share just a couple different ailments and tell you what herbs they are. And you can ask me any questions that you have along the way. So for anxiety and nervousness, Bacopa, really good. That's Bacopa. Bacopa is a really good herb, and you can make it into a tea. It has a really calming effect, a soothing effect. If, in fact, kids or even adults with ADHD, really, really a great tea. And all tea doesn't have to be hot. I'm really not a fan of hot tea. And I always forget that I could make up the tea, steep it and all that, and then just leave it on the counter and drink it at room temperature, or even put it in the fridge to have cold tea, and it'll still have the same effect. So for anxiety and nervousness, it's Bacopa, chamomile, and that's one that you're probably familiar with. Having a nice cup of chamomile tea at the end of the day, taking a detox bath and having some tea, putting Epsom salt and lavender into the tub with a cup of tea. And you can mix some of the teas. I'm always teaching the ladies in wellness you, because sometimes they're like, Roz, how can we possibly, like there's not enough time in the day. And truly, I feel the same way. But you can just mix them. So for instance, for your relaxation tea, you can mix Bacopa and chamomile if you get them both in the same form. So you can buy them both in a cut leaf, and have those together. Excuse me. Lemon balm, really, really good calming tea. Lemon balm. Motherwort, that's mother, and wort is WORT. And valerian, super good. VALERIAN. For arthritis, if you or someone who suffers from arthritis, Amica, AMICA, very good for easing kind of joint pain and joint tension in the body. Black cohosh, it's the word black, and then cohosh is COHOSH. Cayenne pepper. We sprinkle cayenne pepper on everything. Cayenne pepper is really good for blood circulation. and getting that circulation into those areas of the joints and the um, just the arteries and all that that's kind of giving pain. Cayenne really does help with that. For arthritis, ginger, turmeric. If you're not using turmeric, you have to start using turmeric on everything. I think one of these times this week, I'm going to post some recipes for getting more turmeric into your life. Like there is a golden milk, and it is, of course, not cow's milk because we rebuke cow's milk. But it's just called golden milk because the turmeric makes it a nice golden color. Where was I? Oh, we're on arthritis. And willow bark, really good. Asthma, eucalyptus is really good for asthma. Back pain is willow bark. Willow bark, it's so interesting. Aspirin, there is a compound in aspirin that is a form of willow bark. And so that's where it comes from. Willow bark was always nature's aspirin. And so they basically took willow bark, turned it into aspirin, and sold it to us. And we can probably grow willow bark for free. What else do I have? Bronchitis. Juniper is a really good herb for bronchitis. Mullein, Mullein, is another good herb for bronchitis. For bruises, Amica, Amica, and corn silk. And I'll give you a little bit more information about corn silk because it's actually good for a couple things. And when I say corn silk, literally I'm talking about the silk from the husk. So when we shuck corn and we throw those silks away, they are good for so many different things. Like, who knew? Burns, aloe, and you probably are all very familiar with circulation. Circulation, ginkgo, Ginkgo. That's good for ginkgo is, man, it's really good. Ginkgo is good for a myriad of different things. For swelling in the legs, for water retention in the legs, ginkgo is good for that. What else is good for circulation? Horse chestnut. And it's spelled exactly like it sounds, horse chestnut, as well as rosemary. Colds and flus. So what herbs are good for colds? Astragalus, really, really good. I use astragalus. I put astragalus in my smoothies probably about 2 or 3 times a week. That's Astragalus, astragalus. And hold on, you guys. There was another herb that I had written, in my phone. Echinacea, you've probably heard of that one for a cold. Elderberry. Elderberry is great for coughs. It's so very effective. For colds, eucalyptus, garlic, ginger, sage, thyme. And these, you can just mix them all together and make a tea out of them. Constipation, psyllium husk. And that comes in like a powder kind of form, and you just mix it in water and drink it. And that helps with constipation. And what else do we have? For a cough, so I gave you elderberry for a cough. Licorice, it's not the licorice that you have in the store either. It's a herb called licorice, or there's a licorice root. Sage is good for a cough. Slippery elm is good for a cough. Dermatitis, avocado is good. Calendula, oh man, we grew last year calendula at the garden, and it looks like little yellow flowers. You know how weeds have that yellow flower on the end of it? So that's what calendula looks like, but it is great for skin issues. There was someone who came in the garden who had this rash, and so um, one of the my workers at the garden went and got some calendula flowers. She crumbled them up and rubbed them on the lady's rash, and I kid you not, in like 10 minutes it was gone. So calendula, really, really good for skin issues. Oatmeal, so taking those oatmeal baths. Coconut oil, using that as a moisturizer. If you have skin issues, what's that, eczema, all of that, you should not be using any kind of any kind of lotions, nothing out of the store. No lotions and soaps with all that stuff in it. You can't do that. Diabetes, Asian ginseng, cinnamon. Cinnamon is really effective at lowering blood sugar. Diarrhea, chamomile, fennel works really well. Golden seal, peppermint. For a diuretic, corn silk is a really great. It helps to flush urine out of your system. Really great diuretic. Dandelion, hibiscus, and parsley. Parsley is an excellent diuretic. So like putting parsley in a smoothie in the mornings. So with corn silk, you literally will take the silk from the corn husk and leave it to dry out. Like put it on a paper towel and let it dry out for a couple of days. Sorry, my throat's dry. And so you let it dry for a couple of days, and then you take like a teaspoon and about 6 ounces of warm water and let it steep, and you just make a tea. And it really works very well. So corn silk is good for a few different things. Eczema, avocado is really good for eczema. Calendula, chamomile, coconut oil, witch hazel. Heart health, cacao, raw cacao powder, really good. Garlic, grapes, hibiscus, psyllium is really good for heart health. Indigestion, cardamom, 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 really good for digestion. Chamomile, fennel is great for an upset stomach. Also, if you have gas, bloating, stomach issues, oh, dang, I'm drawing a blank. Black, darn it, I'll think of it in a minute. I can't believe I can't think of this. It looks like ashes from the fireplace. I literally teach on this all the time. What's the name of it? I am totally drawing a blank. I'll remember it in a second. For indigestion, hops, HOPS, which is an herb, lemon balm, peppermint. Inflammation is raw cacao, calendula, comfrey, COMFREY is good for inflammation. Yarrow, YARRO is good for inflammation. Insomnia, passion flower is a great herb. Skullcap is a good herb to help you get more sound sleep. And valerian, VALERIAN, is really good. For menopause, having hot flash symptoms, black cohosh. And I think blue cohosh should be taken in conjunction with black cohosh, but you can do a little bit more research on that. Dong Quai, really good. DONGQUAI is good. Kava, KAVA, So those are good for menopause. Migraine headaches, butterbur. So the word butter with BUR on the end of it. And feverfew. Feverfew is also good for a fever. So that just shows you how they, kind of take herbs that God has given to us freely to help with any kind of ailments and then just turn it into like Tylenol so that we can buy it. Premenstrual or premenstrual syndrome or cramps. Blackstrap molasses is really good for cramps, and it looks like a maple syrup. Well, molasses, so it looks just like that. But taking 1 tablespoon a day throughout the month, not just when you have a period and you're having, really bad cramps, but doing it every day for a couple of months until it like gets in your system and helps to ease those. And blackstrap molasses is always great for a sweet tooth because it's really sweet. Yarrow, Yarrow. Daunting, which I talked about before with menopause. Prostate health, saw palmetto, SAW, and then the word palmetto, PALMETTO. Spinach, stinging nettle, and pomegranates, and also raw pumpkin seeds. Raw pumpkin seeds are really great for prostate health. I have my husband eat them every day, like a handful a day. What else we got? A couple more. Sore throat, so the licorice root, marshmallow root, sage, and slippery elm, ELM, good for sore throat. And urinary tract health, so for anyone who gets a UTI frequently, cranberry juice, of course we know that one, or cranberries. Juniper is good for that. Parsley, corn silk, again, really good for anything in the urinary tract area, corn silk. And uva ursi, UVA, uva, and then ursi, URSI. So those are just a few of the common ailments that most women get. And you can either buy these herbs in capsule form, you can get them in powder form, you can get them in what's called a tincture, which is, how like the dropper bottles and you just put a couple drops in your mouth, that's also called a tincture. So you can get them in tinctures and then you put, 5 or 6 drops under your tongue every day. So there's a few different ways that you can take herbs. They don't have to just be in a tea form, but of course, mixing up those herbs that help with the issues that you may have, you can put them together and have a couple of cups of warm tea or cold tea a day, which will help too. So hope this helps give you a little bit more perspective on the natural healing of the body in Wellness U. I did start early this year to really start to teach a lot about herbs and introduce a new herb to the ladies, usually every 2 months because I don't want to overwhelm anyone, and add it to your daily juices and smoothies. And we're doing one right now, y'all. I'm really, really, really loving it. I was sharing with one of them today that the herbs that I'm introducing, I'm gonna wait till like March because y'all, the taste is so freaking bad, but I'm having the best benefits out of it. One being the libido definitely has increased quite a bit. So that's probably a good thing for my husband. I tell him, look, I got work to do. Like, and I ain't 16 no more, but it is a really nice benefit. So anyway, that's all I have for you. If you have any other questions on herbs or you have any symptoms or ailments that I didn't mention that you want to know what herbs could help with it, definitely just let me know in the comments below and I will see you in the group. Bye.